Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hannah Story. I am the North American Marketing Manager for Hitachi Solutions. I want to thank you for joining us today. Before I introduce you to today's speakers, I do want to let everyone know that you can submit questions into the Q&A window, and we will get to them following the presentation if time allows. Today's speakers are Louis Bergstrom, Financial Services Industry Architect with Microsoft, and David Reinsvold, Product Manager with Hitachi Solutions. I'd like to turn it over to Louis, who will start today's presentation.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to cover with David, as Hannah just introduced us. Thank you. Moving to the front of the pack, how financial advisors can achieve digital transformation with Dynamics 365. In today's agenda, I'm going to cover industry vision and perspective for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then I will hand it over to David to cover Hitachi Wealth Management Solution, and we'll do a follow-up with a demo and summary Q&A. If we step back and think about it, or talk about it more or less, the technology landscape has shifted dramatically. Technology is an intrinsic part of the financial services business. Innovation and agility have become imperative as traditional revenue streams become more difficult to achieve. We in the industry see this being imperative. If you look at the mega trends of mobile, social, cloud, and big data, they're playing a fundamental role in driving financial institutions to reevaluate and transform their business strategy. And more importantly, that's what I'm calling out here in this slide to kind of, you look at some of those bubbles and really focus. One that I like to call to attention is use data as a competitive advantage. Data is key to the transformation of financial services. The amount of structured and unstructured data that financial institutions need to analyze has grown. It will continue to grow, and exponentially, as you see, even with your own data and your own systems today. More importantly, financial institutions that best manage and monetize data will have a strong path to stronger risk management and improved overall operational efficiency. And that's a good segue into another one where you want to operate, in a highly regulated environment. The industry is experiencing a level of regulatory scrutiny that is unprecedented. It is intense as we see it. Indeed, regulatory compliance is having a profound effect on the business models of financial institutions, and that's going to allow us to create and expand our rapidly market new products, fund new marketing opportunities, and allow financial institutions to find new ways to lower costs and operate more efficiently while transforming their offerings and services. And if I had to look across our core pillars in our messaging about digital transformation, we go with 4, and it's engage your clients, empower your advisors, optimize your operations, transform your products. If I had to narrow it down to one word, it'd be empower. This resonates with the C-suite. Everyone wants to empower their employees, and they want to uniquely engage their clients. If we kind of step back and think about the advisor of tomorrow, as I just spoke, digital transformation is vastly underway. The advisor of the future, whether it's asset management of the future or even, banker of the future, to name a few, it will include innovations like bots, artificial intelligence, maybe even HoloLens on our corresponding cloud platforms. Really, if we step back again and really look at it and think holistically, the advisor tomorrow is all about becoming more customer-centric and being predictive and proactive. We think about the advisor firms of tomorrow will augment the advisors with human interaction, and we talk about conversations as a platform, having that some of those digital advisors using a web portal to be able to offer cross-channel experiences. And employee process automation to simplify the advisor experience and remain compliant. And if we think about a holistic view, a 360-degree view is provides that capability to allow advisors to treat every customer as an individual. Nearly every transaction is executed electronically, and the sheer volume of data generated is quite staggering. So innovations in cloud computing and on which real-time analytics is built, big data and advanced analytics is going to enable this transformation to be able to take data and channel that across your platforms. Looking at it from an all-up digital platform, today we're looking to unlock digital client and advisor experiences. Kind of already mentioned it, we want to have a consistent omni-channel experience, whether that's through modern apps, whether that's through a 360 client view, whether it's through a portal. Some of it could be web-enabled through mobile channels. Some of it could even come from an internal call center experience. And we want to be able to take that and provide actionable insight across the entire digital platform as we look at it today. And what that's going to enable us to do is provide an advisor productivity suite, being able to have your back office talk to your front office and have data, have it as a common platform. In the industry today, our approach, we're looking at it as providing wealth management clients, intelligent client platform, and also configured for a way, as I already stated in the first two slides about the digital advisor platform, is being able to have a cross-platform experience, personalized analytics, collaborate on the enterprise, some of the new cognitive services, even machine learning, and providing an integrated productivity suite. And we look at that as a client insight system. And as you can see on the right, there's many ways that this can be configured for the advisor industry. And with that going forward, that's what I'm going to hand over to David and let him talk about Hitachi and their solution today.
Thank you very much, Luis. I really appreciate it. So let me go ahead and start right here with the Hitachi at a glance. So the one thing that I really want to go ahead and highlight here is the fact that Hitachi is the Hitachi that everyone knows. It is one large global company that is actually, you know, the 38th largest company in the world with 336,000 people. But we are Hitachi Solutions, the business unit, and that does about $3.4 billion a year with 11,900 employees. And we have about 3,000 plus Microsoft specific professionals, and we are a Microsoft house, and we are operating in 10 different countries with the focus on Dynamics AX, CRM. We are a global ISV, and we do portals, collaboration as well, and we do also business intelligence, just all of the things that we kind of envelop all into one. This next slide does give us an example of what we have as far as the different countries that we're working on. So you can see the 10 different ones are throughout APAC. We have truly a global presence here with Europe as well as in North America. So moving on, basically we do want to talk about the Hitachi for wealth management, and that's what we're all here for, is the CRM for wealth management. So to kind of go into what we developed this to is really to address those challenges that wealth advisors and wealth management are currently facing today. And really success in wealth management depends on great client relationship. I mean, you really got to deliver the kind of personalized, deep, relevant service that clients expect today, and you need to fully understand their needs, their aspirations, and where they fit into your book of business. And so we really think that the Hitachi Solutions CRM for wealth management gives those wealth advisors and client service teams an unprecedented visibility into the client, the company, and the investment data so that they can use it to make better informed decisions, increase the assets under the management by finding and executing new business opportunities and building strong trust-based relationships with existing clients. And as you see on this slide, we kind of have the Hitachi CRM for wealth management broke up into two areas, which is the key is to find those new clients because you got to keep replacing that database, as well as increase the share of the wallet of the people you have, that return on investment of your current customers. And to really do that, you need to go ahead and have these four areas of focus, right? You have a customer area of focus, where you're winning those new customers and increasing the wallet share like we said. And this way you're getting more people coming in, they're staying longer with a longer lifetime value, and you're also getting a higher return. And you do that by the relationships. And so in the system, we actually are going to track household, you're going to track the different companies as well as individuals. And when you have that kind of information at your fingertips all in one area, you can really make that targeted approach that really speaks to the customer, because now the customer expects a higher level of service now every day that everybody has, because competition is so fierce that giving someone that understanding that you know them as a customer and know their specific needs, and are also giving them what things that they'd be interested in. So you're not just doing a mass email out there or a mass mail. You're targeting, it's targeted to them as a person, and you know and you have that at your fingertips. The other thing is the economy, right? So you have to maintain profitability and drive growth in a challenging economy. And how do you do that? Well, you have to do it with that targeted, with that information, so then you can go ahead and spend time correctly. And it's not just making more money per time, but it's giving you time back. So you probably can be a great wealth advisor and be getting a lot of money the way you're doing things already. A lot of people have been doing it for such a long time. They have the way they like it. So they can go ahead and produce fine, but with these systems and with these wealth management, where you break down those silos, the one thing you can get back is the time. So if you can just give people back 10, 15, 20 minutes a day, well, they don't need to go ahead and cut out those other systems and moving back. Now you've got all that time that you can be even more productive. And finally, the technology. All this is going to be within the technology, and this is where we're here. It's the digital transformation. You're taking all these things, you're putting it into this new age, into the technology, which allows you to be more efficient, get that time back. You now can have more innovative ways for managing and more diverse way of approaching the environment that you're working in, because the environment and everything else is going to change, and we all need to change with it. And by bringing it into the digital age, then we're going to be continuing to move along. So here's some of the business benefits that we see with this. Is one, your Hitachi solution for wealth management is going to enable advisory firms to visualize and track the complex relationships between clients, households, and companies. So one thing that you may have now is you may have your Outlook for email, you may have a Rolodex, you have your phone, you have all those different ways of going ahead and tracking things. But now realize that people's relationships and people's preferences are in so many different places. LinkedIn, for example, is a great way where people go. Any sort of social media in general. Then you have all the Outlook emails that you've been going and all the touch points that you've had. So calls. Well, if you can take all that information and put it on one place where you can go ahead and find what your customer is looking for, then you have unprecedented access right at your fingertips when you need them. You also can use customer knowledge to provide personal advice, improve service, and provide targeted upsell and cross-sell, right? You provide that tailored service and offers. So you have all this information that's out there. People are constantly just giving information away. Well, now you can utilize that information, and you realize that person A will be definitely placed for a situation based on certain products and parameters that they'll be perfect for this product that we're offering or service, where person B might not be. So to then market them the same way is not going to get you the same results that you want. Now you can have your targeted marketing, targeted sales, and then also targeted improved service, because now you're talking to the person, you know the information about them, and it's not just a random customer that's calling in. Also, win new customers and increase wallet share. So take a highly structured, data-driven approach, and you're going to get a data-driven approach to business development. So in other words, you have all this data, and then with that data, you can then go ahead and utilize that information to help you leverage that information to make decisions for you. So it's great if you collect all this information, but it's useless if you can't actively utilize it to get yourself to get some sort of insight and better understanding of your customers to take actionable items. So that was a lot of an overview of what kind of the reasons why we have the solution that we've created. Now here's a look at the solution itself and how it kind of fits into Dynamics CRM. You're going to notice on the bottom here that there's the purple area. So the purple is the base. That's your Microsoft Dynamics system platform. So that's going to have Dynamics. It's also going to have the suite of Office products, which includes, Office 365. It's also based on your SharePoint. You have your SQL Server, and even Power BI. So that's your platform where everything can be built off of, and all provided by Microsoft. Then if you move up into the gray area, that's when we go ahead and you can go ahead and see that I apologize. The gray area, you can see the Hitachi CRM Essentials. So what this is this is what makes us different than going with another partner. So basically what happens is the fact that we can provide these with every one of our implementation, and this is our approach. This is kind of the things that we've gone ahead and created and realized these assets work well when giving our brand of implementation. So you're not just getting another provider that just looks at you another way. We've done this before. We have these assets we can pull from, and you're kind of getting the Hitachi stamp of approval and Hitachi products in with every one of our implementations. And then on top is the industry module. So on top of all of that, that's when we go ahead and focus on the various IP in the industries that we have. In this case, the wealth management. So in this wealth management, we have a couple different modules. A deal module, an advanced relationship module, an investors relation module, and a fund module, for example. And the reason why we have these, and the great thing that really helps us, is the fact that a lot of people have IP and a lot of people have these things, but with the Hitachi Essentials, with the industry modules, we look at it as not starting from scratch, right? Dynamic CRM is a great material that a lot of people, it's almost like starting with the raw metal, and then you can go ahead and you got that, and then you can go ahead and build from there. Well, we know that if we're working with wealth advisors and wealth management, we already know based on our experience in this area what they are probably going to need, what the basis is, so we have a framework. So it's like building a car where you have the frame of the car already. We know it needs 4 tires, we know it needs a certain amount of frame, and then from there, we utilize that to then just do a gap fit with the IP and things like that. Because everyone's business is a little bit different. Everyone has different customers and different needs. But generally, you have the framework that's required. We have that in there, and then we can instantly just start doing gap fit, which gives a more efficient approach, and we get those lessons learned because we've been doing it for a very long time. Here's an example of the Hitachi CRM for wealth management workflows that have been built out. Don't really need to highlight this too much, just kind of wanted to give you understanding of some of the things that are already pre-built. So when you get this IP, there's been things that have been already pre-built, they're already in there, and they can just be modified or utilized out of the box. So next, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the CRM, the solution details here. So I don't want to spend too much time necessarily on this, just because I'm going to show a lot of this inside the live demo. So this right here, though, is just a couple of slides we're going to go ahead and go over is the Hitachi CRM for wealth management. So basically, we're going to focus on the advisors and client relationship module that we kind of saw before. So this is going to enable financial advisors and the client service teams to be more effectively understand and track the relationships between the household contacts and companies. So again, like we talked about before, is you get this information in there and you need to be able to track it all in one place and see how it works all together. So with the household management, you're going to gain that clear understanding of all the accounts held by an individual, their family members, the head of household, and this way you can provide the right advice and find the opportunities to increase that wallet share. So you can have these people and these contacts inside the system and realize not only do they have their own individual records, you can also see how they work as a household or as a whole. So when somebody becomes, certain parameters comes up, maybe you notice someone in the household turns 16, then you can go and offer certain different products and services for them, or if someone's looking. So you get this information, and based on it as a household, you can look at it. There's also portfolio management, and this gives advisors a comprehensive view of portfolio activity throughout their book of business so they can serve the clients better and make the best possible use of their time. You also have the contact management. You get to keep the accurate track of your clients, all their investments, the companies they're a part of, any business contacts, in order to really connect with the right people at the right time, identifying the new opportunities. So when you're looking for that new opportunity or that cross-sell, upsell, you can really now have that contact management, really that contact 360, and you get that understanding of who it is you're talking about and how best to modify your approach and do best with your time and your approach there. And then you also have the roll-up reporting. So you have the roll-up reports, with the views, the activities that clients, businesses, and household level, they can get a better understanding of how you're serving the clients. So that's a little bit on the advisor-client relationship module. Continuing on, looking at the next module, we can go ahead and say the client service module. Now, this isn't necessarily something I'm going to go to in this webinar today, just simply we don't have time, but it still requires and should be called out, which is how you're able to service your clients. It's not just good enough to go ahead and get new clients and try to go ahead. It's also keeping clients. And you keep clients by realizing that they feel special, they feel needed, and you can do that by giving good customer service. And it's another differentiator. So with that client service module, you really put customer data in the context so you can resolve inquiries quickly and become a trusted advisor to your customers. So you have that Service 360, which again gives you a single holistic view of the client, including their accounts, their portfolio of household, their business relationships, and you can provide them with the right services at the right time. And that's going to increase satisfaction and then ultimately loyalty to you as the advisor and to the brand as a whole. Next, you have the service resolution, right? You can respond to requests and inquiries quickly because of all the automated processes for common tasks and that you might see in a system. And this could be, anything, including, client onboarding, investment review meetings, any sort of allocation changes or distributions. And then you also have the advisor desktop. So you get to maximize advisor productivity by giving them the consolidated visibility into their clients, their investment accounts, and you reduce that time spending hunting for information. So like we mentioned before earlier, when you're working with Dynamic CRM, you can have all this information, especially with the dashboarding in this case of that desktop. You can get all the information in there, but you can report on anything that is in the system as well. So you pull the information in there so you can see it in one source. Break down those silos, see the information you need when you need it, and then create actionable items that you can now do. I appreciate everyone sticking with me. I promise you this is the last slide before we go to the live demo. So what I do want to talk about now is the business development aspect of this. So you get to win new customers, increase that share of wallet with a compelling communication and targeted offers. Again, all driven based on the information we're pulling in there, and it's all actionable right at your fingertips. You also have lead opportunity management, so you have the sales automation. So you manage those leads, those opportunities, the referrals, and you can ensure consistent follow-up and automated routing and tracking. So in other words, everyone can be doing the same thing on a consistent basis, and you have the visibility of where everything is, at what stage, so you can have a really great understanding of how your pipeline looks and how you can go ahead and move forward to those next steps. You have the cross-sell and upsell. You can capitalize on the cross-sell and upsell opportunities by really giving clients and the household offers that are tailored specific to their needs, profile, and risk tolerance. So you have this information within CRM. You have it all in that one place. Now you can utilize it for, again, those targeted offers that are unique and specific to the person, which is going to increase the likelihood that they are going to get that product or convert into that rather than just a mass mailer where your return on investment is not going to be as high as a targeted one. Campaign management. You're going to create and execute campaigns quickly. You're going to track those returns on your investment, and then you're going to be able to track that all back to the specific marketing actions that were taken. And again, we're not necessarily going to go into these modules in this webinar, but these are all things that are very important. We also have the event management. So you can seamlessly capture, you can prioritize, you can route those leads from the events to help make sure that you follow up quickly and with the right information. So really now you can go ahead and figure out how to go ahead and develop that business, how to get those new people coming in, and then before, as we saw with the customer relationship, you can keep them happy, and then with it all put together with the wealth management, the information that you have on that customer totally. So with that, we are going to go ahead and then move into the demo. So I'll go ahead and share my screen out. 1 second. see if this should start coming up soon. All right. So here we are. So the first thing that hopefully everyone can see is the first thing anyone is going to see on the second they go ahead and get into Dynamic CRM is a dashboard. So right now you can notice that we are on the Wealth Advisory dashboard. So the one key thing, and I'm not sure with everybody on this webinar, how familiar you are with Dynamic CRM. So in case some people have only seen it once, or they've never seen it at all, or just would like a quick refresher course, I'm going to go over a couple of key contacts at the very beginning, kind of give a crash course in CRM 101. So first thing, we're on our dashboard. The key here is everything in the system is all role-based, role security-based. So all the information shown is based on a security role that has been given to me. Now, I am logged in as administrator, and that's why we can see so many different system dashboards and so many different personal dashboards. But the key here is you're going to have different dashboards and different login experiences for different roles. So although I'm a wealth advisor in this system can obviously have numerous roles with numerous people accessing this information. So that being said, when I log in, I will only see information that's relevant to me. And this is true if you look down here into the first chart that we have here, which is my sales pipeline. Notice the sales pipeline, my open opportunities. This is great because it's literally showing anything that's assigned to me, not as a system as a whole. But I can see a system as a whole as well, assuming I have the security profile. Next, we can go ahead and move over to other charts. The other thing about charts are they're not just pretty to look at. They actually do offer, they're up to date, they're dynamic, and they even allow for some drill down capabilities. So if I want to go ahead and ask that question of what was my proposed stage and each account in the proposed stage and what each one of those deals are, now I can go ahead and get some quick segmentation analysis and notice where I should start. So it gives me understanding that maybe I should start with this unit corporation. They're going to offer me a little bit more, and I can all saw that from this right here. We can see lists right here. So we can see active referrals as an example. And see, again, this isn't necessarily just my referrals. It's all of them. And I can change the view as needed. So I could change it to my referrals, and it'll show me just only my referrals. And again, all this is security role-based. So I would only have access, even if it was all active referrals, if I didn't have access to see some referrals, I still would not see them. And again, I can see any activities I have for the day and maybe any households. And the great thing about this is I can make a new dashboard, a personal dashboard, anytime that I need to. And I can change what kind of charts and I can change the list as need be. It does not require any special programming. A power user or a user could do it themselves. We can see an alert that I have, so I can go ahead and get alerts that are directed just to me as the system user. So something can go in there and say, hey, check this. It has something to do with that. Navigation within Dynamics CRM is also very simple. The great thing about it is you can go ahead and pretty much get anywhere in the entire system within a couple clicks. Now, this experience would also be tailored toward the user's security role. Again, I am I am the system administrator here, so I see everything. But if I was a wealth advisor, I may not need to see, all of these things, personal, business, wealth, service. Or what I would see is maybe, personal, business, but I wouldn't see everything inside here. But here's the different sections and work areas that we have in Dynamics CRM in the D365. So again, I can navigate to anywhere that needs to be. Now, one thing I do want to point out as I navigate here is if you'll look into the settings here, and one thing that I do want to go ahead and show is, so this area that says extensions, here is everything that Hitachi has done. So all these extensions are what Hitachi has generally done to build out our wealth management IP. So just kind of to understand the breadth of what we've gone ahead and done above and beyond just the out-of-the-box functionality. So like we mentioned before, when we saw that slide that had the purple bottom with Dynamics the D365, followed by the gray and then the red modules on top, these are the red modules that are inside there. This is everything we've gone ahead and modified and gone above and beyond. Some of the things that we can go ahead and do here is we can actually go ahead and drill into these as well to see the underlying records. So we can actually see, like I said, this is all up to date. So we're going to go ahead and now see a list of, in this case, my opportunities when they load. And the great thing about this, and I'll actually come back to this later, so I don't want to spend too much time, but when I come back and talk about reporting, we'll see these again. But the great thing is you can navigate to the information that you need when you need it, as well as filter that information. So I talked about it. It's great if you track a lot of information, but if you can't utilize that information, you can't see this little online dashboard or chart, or you can't go ahead and filter through all the records, then what good is it? And they make it very easy in the D365 CRM to go ahead and filter any of these things to get the information that I need. So if I could do it a couple different ways, is one, they have the Excel style filtering. So the great look and feel of being a Microsoft product is the fact that if you're used to using any of the Office suite, you're going to be able to kind of navigate around here and see a similar user experience. So for example, if I just wanted to go ahead and filter, it's going to filter just like Excel. Maybe I just want to see all of the qualify and develop stage. So I hit OK. Now it's going to filter all those, and you even notice that my chart will dynamically change. The other thing that we can also do is we can dynamically change these charts. So when I click on this chart, we notice that now it'll update these records on the side. So now I can really navigate and see and get a real good understanding of where I'm at and utilize this information for actionable things. We will talk a little bit more about exporting this to Excel and running reports, but we'll come back to that later. The last thing about the crash course to the CRM 101 is this global navigation bar. First, we can go ahead and click on this. So again, it is very easy to navigate within CRM. We can go ahead and navigate to any of the breadcrumb trail that we have and go ahead and go into anything that we've seen recently. We can go ahead and quick create any sort of records we need. So if all of a sudden I'm working with someone and I realize that I need to maybe someone in the loans department or mortgages, they're looking for that as well, I can quickly create a referral without leaving the screen I'm on. I don't have to navigate to another record. I can go ahead and type in the minimum information that's required, and then I can go ahead and save it. Let's say they were a net new contact or company. You even have the ability to do nesting quick create. So this means that, again, I don't need to navigate to anywhere else to really create these records. I can quickly create the person, the referral, and I can hit save, and then through automation in the back end, it can go ahead and create other things, emails, notifications, and then go ahead and get to the people that need to be. So again, it's all about saving that time, cutting those things that used to have to take longer. You can automate it, all keep it in one place, give you more time to go throughout the day to make you more successful. And the last thing is the global search. So now we can do a search. Obviously, I can search my opportunities. I can search, anything that I need. But the global search, if we go ahead and search for the Glenn family, I can go ahead here, do an entire search through my entire system. So this would work on more than names, obviously, if you had account numbers. So you can see, just type an account number in, and then it'll search the entire system for wherever that account number is associated. So phone numbers, for example, anything that you need to go ahead and search on, you can go ahead and search, and it'll search the entire system. So now it's pulled back loans that are associated with Glenn. Notice that I added this asterisk. That means it's a wild card, which then allows me to go ahead and pull Glenn, whether it's not just the beginning, the first word, it's in the first, middle, or anywhere inside. So that's why we can see Jim, we can see Laura, and then we can see all the different records that are in the system that we have with the Glenn family. Like, in this case, activities, cash accounts, household, loan summaries. So with that, let's go ahead and go into some of the stuff that's been configured specifically by Hitachi for this wealth management and what a wealth advisor can really utilize. So the first thing we're doing is we're going to be looking at Jim Glenn. Jim Glenn is one of our customers, one of our contacts, and what I'm going to be showing you now is a wealth of information. So we're going to notice that, first of all, again, even the contact form that we have here, being the layout of how we're showing the information, it can actually be changed and controlled by security as well. So one example would be a contact, wealth advisor might need to see very specific information, but not see other information that a customer service representative might see, and they only do call center customer service. So you can actually control that by these different forms. So when I go ahead and change the form, you'll notice that right now our top sections are authenticate, alerts, and interactions. If I was going to change back to a more generic contact form, we're going to go ahead and see the entire layout differently. And again, I'm a system administrator, so now the look is relatively similar. We didn't change it very much, but you notice that the sections are now different. So this means that everyone has their unique experience. So they see the information that they need when they need to see it in a role-based experience. So it's not just one form where everyone has to search through it as well. So here we are, contact is wealth. We can see the different sections here. On the very top, we have an authenticate section. So we're tracking the date of birth, social security number, maybe mother's maiden name, common things that are on there. Notice a couple things that we have the key here. So in other words, they can have field level security. So we've talked about form level security, dashboard security, and you can go down to the specific fields. So maybe some people are allowed to see the last 4 digits of this person's phone number or mother's maiden name, but maybe other people are not. They do not have the field level security. So they can access the form, but they would not be able to see the information in these fields. Here we have alerts and interactions. So we've gone ahead and built out, so now you can see here how Jim has interacted. So we can see he posted a deposit, he has payment arrangements. This would also let us know if there was any sort of regulations or other things that we needed to get out to him. They can pump this to the record, and then we can go ahead and talk to him and send that out as well. Here we can see all the different referrals. So here's all the active referrals that are specific for Jim. So every time we're talking to, we can see what those referrals are, what status they are in, then the follow-up required, what line of business. I'll go more into referrals later, but here's a way that you can see very specifically the different records for Jim. And we can also see any campaigns and offers. So when we're talking to Jim, if we have him on the phone or we want to follow up, we can see that we offered him the auto loan, we have offered him a customer list and investment clients. So we know what we're doing, we know what we offered him, and then we can also track how he interacted with those. Was he interested? Was he not interested? Did he not like that? So we can go ahead and utilize that information when we do contact Jim Glenn. Now next is the Customer 360. Here is really the crux of everything that from here on out is really getting an understanding of your customer all in one single place. So here we have the profile information that we're getting. We're pulling in the credit score. Again, this is going to be just like your basic generic information you might need on a customer. The middle here is a social media style activities pane. If we move from left to right, we can see posts. Now posts are going to be just like any social media. It's a collaborative functionality that we have here that we can go ahead and see how people are interacting, and we can go ahead and work together. So I can see that Landy, gave Jim a call, and he called in for about a balance check. Now I can go and reply that, and I can put whatever I wanted in here as well. And now Landy replied to himself for whatever reason. Doesn't make much sense. But you have that collaborative effort. So if you're working with a team or you're working with other advisors, then you can go ahead and talk to each other about how you're currently handling the advisor, how the current situation is going. Along the same lines, we'll move to the assistant here, which we don't currently have anything for. But what the assistant does is actually has some sort of machine learning and takes the information that's in the system already, and then will, based on certain parameters, will then go ahead and feed you certain cards, if you will, notifications. And it'll tell you maybe your loan or your opportunity or the sentiment. It'll take all these different aspects and then give you an understanding of how the current situation with Jim Glenn is after using some machine learning and analytics. So it'll take that information, and then there's a certain amount of automation in the back that give you suggestions. So you now have an idea of when the person needs to be called. If you haven't called them in a while, it could let you know, things of that nature. And then here you can track those activities as well. So here we have in one place all the various activities that we can go ahead and track. So you notice that tasks, appointments, phone calls, emails, any different kind of thing that you track, we can now track in one singular place. So you don't need to worry about this person, when they leave the company and they take their Outlook with them, you lose all that information, all those contacts, and that wealth of back and forth. You now have it being pulled in, and again, Outlook is out of the box synced with Dynamics 365, so this can be pulled in instantly if need be. And then it can even give you suggestions on, hey, it looks like it needs to be tracked. Would you like to track this? And you can do that, and it's two-way. So we can go ahead and track everything to see the freshness. And again, we have any notes and can upload any files as well if need be. So this is also very helpful if I'm out and about and I'm using the mobile app, and I need to take a note, like I called in and I just finished a meeting with them. I can go ahead and open my mobile. I can use the voice to chat on my mobile device using the Dynamics 365, mobile app that's free on any of the app stores. Hit that button, talk into the notes, and that's what you can see right here, and add all those notes that are in there, as well as attach any sort of documents, as well as you do have out-of-the-box integration with SharePoint as well. Over here to the right, you're going to see a customer snapshot. So what you're going to see here is the ability on the record to do reporting that is specific just for that contact themselves. So we saw the dashboard reporting. We saw reporting with our opportunities in our pipeline. But you can even do, dashboard or reporting on the individual itself. So you can add these graphs in there to see exactly how things are going with each one. So again, it gives you that personalized understanding, utilizing the information in your system that you can go ahead and use for actionable items. Now, here's again, you're tracking any sort of, meeting, review details that you currently have. I'd like to go ahead and now notice that these sections right here, which are lists of other records that are associated with Jim Glenn, so we can see his different applications, which allow us to go ahead and navigate very quickly, so we can see any applications that he has. We can go ahead and see any loans that are currently out, for example, and we can navigate to these records. And even, cases, deposits, various things here. Here's the householding info that we talked about earlier. We can see they're part of the Glenn household. It's a specific record that houses the entire household. So we can see that Jim is the head of household, Laura is the dependent, and Diana is the spouse. So not only do we get the visibility into Jim himself, but we get that visibility into the household and the connections that they have. Continuing down, we're tracking more information, as you can see. We also have this ability of next best product. So Hitachi has built out a way of going ahead and calculating next best product that we've put out there. So here's an example of what something like that could look like. So you're utilizing all that information. You have a lot of information on what the customer is doing, what their household is like, and then you can use those parameters and then have that automatically tell you what else they might like. So once that happens, then you can have that automation where you can go ahead and talk to them, say, hey, I noticed here that you might also like this approach. Based on what you're doing here, this might be good for you. Again, helping you get in those targeted, actionable items that you can go ahead and put in there. And then you can go ahead and flag it as, yes, see offered, interested, not interested, or, talk again later. So this way, everyone knows that you're not constantly keep reminding them the same thing, that they want to do investments, for funds. So you can say, okay, I can see that this one has been talked to. Let's go ahead and talk to them maybe later in 6 months. Here we can see customer engagement. So what this is an example of how there's a possibility to go ahead and link with third-party. In this case, it would be Thunderhead, which is a customer journey and customer engagement solution. So you can actually pull that information directly out and into the record itself as well. You can do it through iframes or web resources. So in other words, you have a visibility into this all in one place. So it doesn't even necessarily have to integrate per se. You can now go ahead and just have that visibility and interact with it just by going ahead and seeing that that iframe that's being pulling that information in there for reporting purposes, or not for reporting but for visual purposes to see where they're currently at. Again, creating this contact 360. really getting an understanding of what that customer is. I don't have to go out to another system to see this information. I can pull in what I need to see. Here's what we mentioned before. Again, I'm not going to go into the specifics about how to go ahead and handle marketing, but here's marketing and communication, so we can see how our efforts and how our touch points are going. So we can see how many emails we may have sent them as part of campaigns, and we can also see, how we went and decided how the interaction went. So open, click, spam. So we're seeing how our marketing effort is working, so how we're getting that information back. And again, it all comes back as a full loop. So we have that next best offer, for example, so we can go ahead and send that through a targeted marketing campaign, report back on that marketing, and then go ahead and send them more targeted things as well. Meanwhile, you're utilizing cases and the unique information to then identify anything that the customer needs and answer any needs that they need as well. Here we can also track website visits and any surveys. So we're really getting an understanding of getting information back from the customer. We're prompting them to get more information, and we're able to track that. And here now we also have the insights here, which is going to pull in a lot of social information and pull in other information from large lists. I'm going to come back to this. Let's do this right now. So we can actually go ahead and then view more. And what this is going to do is, based on the information that we have on our record, is now going to go through and pull in third-party information. So now this is actually, although it's Jim Glenn, for Jim Glenn's a made-up person that I utilized somebody from Hitachi. His name is Scott Millwood. And so I use Hitachi as the supplier. So that's why we're seeing is pulling in all the Hitachi information. So I don't need to go ahead and Google anything about Hitachi. So in this case, let's say Jim Glenn worked for Hitachi. Well, now I know the up-to-date information about Hitachi. I know what news is going on. I know how to approach the situation, and I can go ahead and handle that. Now here we also have this start a conversation area. So now I can go ahead and directly, call, email, task, calendar that will go ahead and link with any sort of thing. So if I have a VoIP, then I can go over and call right from my headset if I need to. I can email directly from here by utilizing templates and other information that dynamically is added. And then I can go ahead and see other information that I have based on my Jim Glenn profile. And the great thing about this is, especially as you can see here, connections. With that LinkedIn acquisition, we now have access to those different, LinkedIn connections as well. So in this case, you will represent me, the person that is logged into Dynamics CRM, the Wealth Advisor. And now I can see, by pulling all that LinkedIn information, I can see we actually have one person in common. We have Michael. He's actually a coworker of mine, and he's a personal friend of Scott Millwood. So Scott Millwood is actually Jim Glenn in this case. So I can now know that I actually have someone in common that I now can talk about. So I now have information about the company through the news. I even have information through LinkedIn and our connections. And I even have information that I can go ahead and link with Twitter. So as I just go ahead and click on this Twitter, you can see I'll actually get pulled into their Twitter. And then I can go ahead and utilize that information, that Twitter information, and even see the social public media that's out there, and further get more understanding of the person that I need, and then utilize that information. So we'll go ahead and navigate to another section of that Client 360. And now we're going to go ahead and talk all about the marketing communication, surveys, personal details, that we have in here that gives even more understanding of the personal details on how to talk with them. And then we have the decision support. So if you notice in this decision support, we're pulling in a lot of different assets here. So in other words, total assets are being pulled in and calculated, liabilities, annual income, net worth. They all have keys. We can see the FICO score, channel. The key note about any of this information here is we can configure whatever field we want to go on here. So whatever information, especially information coming from a third party, so whatever whatever the systems are in that we need to pull that information is, it's not necessarily generated here. What you're doing is you're taking that other third-party software and we're exposing it in here. We're updating it. So again, you don't have to go out to that other system. We're taking the key information that is needed, we're creating it on a field here, and it's being updated. So let's look at some more specific records that have been built out, and specifically start with the household record. I know we're coming on almost to the end here, and I want to kind of make sure we see the most of what we can see. So here's the householding record. So now, as a wealth advisor, I can see the total wallet share. I can see all the investments, any trusts, again, any of these activities, and then I can go ahead and see all this information that's being pulled in. So again, the other thing I want to show out is here we go and to see any sort of household members, customers. We can see all of them in there. We can also track any external advisors, so they're in the system as well, so we know who they're working with as their financial advisor, their CPA, their attorney. So we have that insight as well. Then we also have the investment accounts and trusts. So this is how we'd actually do some portfolio tracking. So as long as, let me go ahead and open up one of these. So now we can see the individual IRA for Jim. So again, we wouldn't necessarily be creating or doing the transactions for wealth within Dynamic CRM. That is another system that you can utilize, but we can pull that information into here so then we have it at our fingertips, and then we can call out to that other system. So even if we want it to all work in, you can see right here, this balance and details, we can pull in information, in this case, the Schwab OpenView Gateway account balance. So we're pulling in information. In this case, it would probably be an iframe, but I can also go ahead and, hit these share secured fields, or I can hit any of these buttons on the top there that can go ahead and call out to something else. So one example that we have, and if we can get to it, is on one of the lead records, we can actually call out to get a credit score. So I can just go ahead and run credit, hit that button. It's going to run out to another program that's going to go ahead and run the credit and then come back to me in the system. I don't need to lead the system, and CRM isn't necessarily performing that credit check, but it is utilizing the third-party system without having to go out there. So again, some of the information that we can see on here, you can see the kind of the different, investment account. We're tracking various other things that are important. Any bills and filing structures. Portfolio holdings here. So again, we've got that portfolio management and assets. So we can see that graph and we see what the current holdings are. We can even change. So if we wanted to go ahead and change any of these kind of views, as well as change, we can also change the different charts on, so we can have more than one. So we saw before, you can have one chart on there, but this can be an area that can show multiple charts. So anytime I want to go through, I'm not limited to just the one chart that I'm given. And here we can see the breakdown of the entire portfolio, what it's built off of. So stocks, the different common shares and where they're currently at, and a lot of information as well that we're pulling in. So we can track all this information. And again, we've all navigated to this within 2 clicks. At any point in time, I can go back to Jim Glenn's record and see all that information, and then go ahead and utilize that within 1 or 2 clicks. So I can go ahead and access all this when I'm talking to him, however it needs to happen. And actually do that right now. And I apologize if I'm moving very quickly, but like I said, I do want to make sure we get to the majority of this, and I know we're running really close on time. So those were some of the different things that we built out as far as records. The other thing I did want to get to is referral tracking, because I know referral tracking can be very important as well. So if you notice, we'll go back down to our alerts and interactions. We'll go ahead and then open up a referral to go ahead and understand what that looks like. So referrals, we have 2 distinct things. We have leads and referrals in this system. So a lead can be anything that can go from lead to loan, lead to opportunity, and a referral can be different. A referral can then cause a lead, for example. Depending on how you do your system, we can configure that. So if you have leads and referrals, we do have this ability. So looking at this, the one thing I do want to guide your attention to is this SLA status. So this timer is counting down, and we can define how long will be required to follow up on this referral. Because chances are within under 24 hours, you need to follow up. Otherwise, that referral probably is going to lose its chance of anyone becoming into a product or service exponentially after you don't follow up with that 24. So we can go ahead and define this based on 2 hours, 1 hour, whatever you need. You can see that's been 157 days, 19 hours, 54 minutes, and 28 seconds. So I'm very far over. And based on this, we can then go ahead and create automated actions. So let's say it's counting down to 30 minutes before it needs to go ahead. We can do a warning action that says, hey, this referral has been assigned to you. You need to follow up. You're in jeopardy of blowing your SLA. And then after any of these things, because the timer, we'll go ahead and create a warning record or create a either success or a failure record, you can report on it. You can report when these were followed up, how often, what's the average time that it takes to follow up with referrals. And then here you can see the customer information. So Jim Glenn, it's a wealth management product line. And the great thing about this is this area right here is a view into Jim Glenn's record. So we've gone ahead and pulled a couple fields that we would like to see on this record. So just by changing this record to anybody else, in this case if it was Laura, his dependent, then it would change instantly and then it'll show all that information. So we get a window into that information right off the bat. We're still tracking activities and notes, as well as you can see any sort of status requirements. So here we can go ahead and follow up. We can always see the product line, and we can do the retail business. So you can see exactly where you're at with that information and follow that referral from beginning, creation, all the way to close, and that can go ahead and handle any sort of information and tracking and commissions that you will need. Okay, that was relatively quick. I do want to go ahead and move back to the presentation for a moment and just kind of go ahead and wrap everything up here. So as I navigate back, the one thing I do want to go ahead and show is to start with is we have a lot of experience in here. So I apologize if I kind of ran through this. I'm always very enthusiastic. As you can tell, I speak very quickly, and I really appreciate and enjoy a lot of this stuff, and there's a lot of information out there. And that's thanks because of all this information that we have here, our breadth of customers we work for from big to small, so large global banks to community credit unions as well. So it's very scalable, and the solution can handle it. So it works to whatever it is that you need when you need it. And when you scale, the solution will scale for you, with you. And the last thing I want to go ahead and just go ahead and in summary. So, in summary, here's what we looked at. We know that right here, the digital transformation is key, right? You need that advisor of tomorrow. You need to create that customer-centric experience that's going to proactively identify clients, opportunities, and shape customer decision journeys to create higher value interactions. And you do that by having this, and hopefully I showed you ways that you can imagine how to cut that time off, how to create a more specific, unique, and tailored approach to talking to your customer, and then breaking down those silos and seeing the information you need when you need it. You also have the different approach for the delivering the client insights. So as you can see through this, you have those different stages that you can see at the top. But the key in the middle here is you keep that client insight system right in the middle of everything. You have that understanding of who that client is and how you can go ahead and approach it. And whether you're providing the wealth managed clients, you have the intelligent clients, and then you go ahead and configure for that specific industry. And then again, we empower your advisors, and we did that by showing you how we go ahead and utilize this system. There's always, Microsoft is working on that D365. They're always creating new and fantastic new things, especially with all the information that and all the new things that they're doing. So that's the basis of the platform. We work hard to give you those essentials, and then we give you that industry IP that works there. So we have a faster time to resolution, or a faster time to implementation. We have the industry knowledge and the lessons learned that go ahead and create that. And finally, like we said, you enable that digital transformation. There's that client list that we worked with. We have the understanding. We have the back. We have the lesson learned. And that's how we've gone and developed this wealth and management IP. All right. So with that, I think I don't know if anyone was keeping up, but I hope you were. So I'll go ahead and now pass it back to Hannah.
Yeah. Thanks so much, David, and thank you, Louis, for your time as well today. Since we're at the end of the hour, I want to let everyone know following this presentation, you should be redirected to the Hitachi Solutions site where you can connect with us via chat or submit a contact us form so that we can answer any questions you may have and get you in touch with our teammates to learn more. But we really appreciate everyone's time today for the presentation and for the excellent demo by David. So thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.